Hey guys, how's it going? It's Bluntner here with another team review, and today we're going to be looking at CERULEDGE in the Open Ultra League. Now, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I actually didn't know that CERULEDGE was a Pokemon until it was released in Pokemon Go, and I didn't even realize it was released in Pokemon Go until I caught one last night. I hatched it rather. From an egg. I believe that they were available in 2 kilometer egg, 5 kilometer eggs, and 10 kilometer eggs during this most recent event. But I just haven't really been keeping track of the events in Pokemon Go recently, to be honest. But regardless, it was really fun to test out this Pokemon. It is one of 3 Ghost and Fire type Pokemon that you can use in the Open Ultra League. The other 2 being Skeledirge and the Chandelure. And in terms of bulk, it is directly between the Skeledirge and the Chandelure. It has about 3,500 stat product, where the Chandelure has 3,100, the Skeledirge has 3,900. And Skeledirge is already fairly glassy in terms of Ultra League Pokemon, so definitely it did feel glassy, to be sure, but you have to remember that Chandelure is even glassier than that, so it is nice to have a mid-tier Fire and Ghost type Pokemon, even though it does have pretty much identical moves to the Chandelure. And I'm pairing up with my favorite core, which is the Greedent and Shadow Gliscor core here. So this was one of our first matches. We pair up versus a Venusaur, and what we're thinking here is that we are going to chip them and take some damage, and then we're going to switch into the Gliscor. And what we're thinking is that after 2 body slams, we should be able to farm them down with Gliscor. They do throw here, which is nice because they are still 2 Vine Whips short of the next move. And so we can take this Frenzy Plant. We are a lot bulkier on the Greedent than we are with Gliscor, which means that we usually want to tank damage on the Greedent first. And then we switch into Gliscor, and they switch out into Feraligatr. But they took a good amount of time to switch. So we do actually deny their Shadow Claw. And we throw this Aerial Ace. And we are going to actually no-shield this move. The reason why we no-shield here, even though we have some energy, is because of the fact that the CERULEDGE does so well with a shield advantage. So the name of the game here is to give CERULEDGE a shield advantage. If we had Trailblaze, we would be in a much better spot, honestly, because Trailblaze could put them into Incinerate downrange. But unfortunately, with Crunch, we do have to shield here. So we're back down to the even shields, but we should be able to outpace the Feraligatr. We could have thrown more Mud Shots here before throwing our move. We should have thrown, I think, 3 Mud Shots. But now we switch into CERULEDGE, and this is not great for us because we do have to shield here, but we get a lot of energy. And so this is the strength of CERULEDGE as a closer. And they have a Typhlosion in the back, a Shadow Claw Typhlosion, which is actually pretty scary for a CERULEDGE, but not with this huge energy advantage. Boom! The Shadow Ball does almost all of the Typhlosion's health, and I couldn't believe it. I think this was one of my first battles with the team, and yeah, I was just completely amazed by the damage of that non-boosted Shadow Ball. We are going to reach the Body Slam here, and that is a good game. So yeah, also showcasing Greedent, I think, as just a really flexible lead that even though the Venusaur got rid of the CERULEDGE in the back, is able to easily outpace a Venusaur. So here we have the best possible alignment. Feraligatr is so common in the meta, and seeing in the lead is the best case scenario. Just because we do resist their Shadow Claws, and they can't take us out with 2 Hydro Cannons, which means that we do outpace them to the 3rd move, and they have to either shield or lose the lead. And I think that this is why I like Greedent so much with this team, is because Greedent forces the opponent to shield so often in order to win the lead. Like they can win the lead perhaps in the two shield scenario, but getting a shield is far more valuable to me than winning the lead with this team. Because now we're going to go into our Gliscor after they switch out into Licky Licky. And this is not bad at all because we have a shield advantage. We have a Body Slam loaded on the Greedent. And it's kind of nice that we do because we are going to be able to land this Earthquake. This is the strength of Gliscor as a safe swap. Because if you're able to get a shield advantage like this, Gliscor is almost guaranteed to land this Earthquake because they don't want to go 2 shields down, right? So they let it go through. And now because we landed the Earthquake, we should be able to take them out with an Aerial Ace here. So we go for the Aerial Ace. They have to make a decision if they want to shield and farm down. And they don't. So now we have taken out 2 of their We've taken out 1 of their Pokemon. We've gotten 1 quite low. And so what I'm thinking here is that I'm just going to either force a shield or take out the Feraligatr. And either way is fine by me. And so now we have a 2 shield advantage. And we have the Cerulege in the back. And they have a Conkeldurr. I almost wanted to give this person the game just because Conkeldurr is such a fun choice. It's the only fighting type that I could ever imagine. It's the last fighting type I could ever imagine in the Ultra League. So I did want to give them the win just because it's an insanely spicy choice. But we have a video to make and we have to have wins for the video. So, that is a very easy win in the back just because, Conkeldurr is honestly not the best choice for a fighter. There's so many fighting types to choose from, and Conkeldurr is definitely one of the spiciest possible fighting types. So much respect regardless for using it. I'm very sorry that you did not win that game. Honestly, I don't know about you guys, comment down below, but sometimes when I face really spicy teams, I do want to let them win just because I have so much more respect for people that go super spicy than people that use the meta. So here we have Greedent into Talonflame lead. And this is a positive lead for us just because we are able to spam out our moves so much quicker than the Talonflame can. This is showing the weakness of very long turn duration move like Incinerate versus a short duration move like Mudshot. That we eventually force him to switch out into the Guzzlord. And we are going to no shield this. We're thinking that because we have a shield advantage, we don't have a shield advantage, but because we have that little bit of damage with the Body Slam, that we can hopefully get a shield here. But we don't, and that's very unfortunate because we could have taken them out with a Earthquake. But here, we do throw the Aerial Ace immediately. If I thought that I could live that Dragon Tail, then I would probably have thrown 1 Wing Attack. But they do let it go, and then they get energy advantage with the Talonflame. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into Cerulege, and we can take out the Talonflame in 3 Incinerate. So we're pretty confident that they are going to throw here, just because of the fact that Incinerate is such a difficult move to maneuver around. So we are able to safely make that catch, and that is what wins us the game because we're just going to be able to completely farm down this Annihilate here. It's going to be very satisfying. The thing is that Annihilate, if it has Night Slash and it double boosts, I think that it can take us out. I think that's pretty much their only win con here because we have a shield advantage and we so thoroughly outpaced them to a Shadow Ball that I think that even if they threw the Night Slash here, they wouldn't make it to a Shadow Ball. And yeah, so I mean, we were already at a move. So that was a game that we would definitely win as long as we double shielded there. If we had let through a possible Night Slash, we would have lost that game. And so here we have one of the most common leads that I've seen in this meta in the Guzzlord. A very good lead. It does beat my Greedent in pretty much every shielding scenario just because the Dragon Tails hit so hard. The Dragon Claws hit so hard. It's very solid damage. But the power of Greedent is in spamming out these charge moves. So we're actually going to put them into range where we can take them out with an Aerial Ace here. And so we're going to tank this Crunch. And we're going to switch into the Gliscor. And we have enough experience with the Guzzler to know that we can take them out with the Aerial Ace on the CMP tie. And then they switch into a Cobalion. And this is fantastic for me. I don't even care if they shield this, because we're either going to take both shields or we're going to take switch. And either way is fine by me. CERULEDGE is our closer. And we basically assume that if CERULEDGE can get both shields and an energy advantage, it should just be able to sweep the game. We do throw on alignment, which is not smart there, because we were assuming that they were going to throw the Sacred Sword on alignment, but they went one over alignment, which could be a close combat. And sure enough, they do have close combat, so very spicy moveset from this Cobalion. I do approve. But if you have close combat on your Cobalion, that's kind of going to be more of a safe swap. A closer rather than a safe swap. We have to see what their third Pokemon is here. They're going to crunch us, and they get the defense drop, which is not great. At least we take out this Guzzlord here, and we do get an attack boost, which is quite good. And they have Togekiss in the back, and boy, do I love to see the Charmer reserved in the back here, because we are just going to be easily able to take out this Charmer with the Shadow Ball. We could have even gone Flame Charge, but we know that we can incinerate down this Cobalion in the back before, so they're just going to top left the game. Very satisfying end game there, just completely pummeling a Charmer with our CERULEDGE. And so here, we're going to immediately switch to the Gliscor. This was a little bit later on, and I figured out that it was a little bit too risky to stay in with the Greedent against the Venusaur too long, because they would be able to flip the matchup with Gliscor if they farmed up enough energy. And so now we switch out into Gliscor, and we bait out their Swampert. The thing is that Swampert will not be able to Mudshot down here. So what that means is that we can spam with these Aerial Aces. We do get a shield advantage, and a shield advantage is all that we want here. We want a shield advantage, and we will be able to put them into Incinerate downrange with our Greedent. So we are going to throw the Body Slam, and we're going to switch out into CERULEDGE. After they throw, we're assuming that they're going to throw their energy immediately, which they do. Here's a tip for everyone out there, is just maybe don't throw your energy immediately, because if they had farmed up, we would have probably lost this game, honestly. They do have a Cresselia in the back, which is an instant win for us, because we have an energy advantage already, and they're just not going to be able to reach a Future Sight in time to really threaten us. So they throw the Grass Knot here, or a Moonblast. We know this is a Grass Knot. Could have been a Moonblast, I guess. I wasn't really keeping track of energy. But then they switch to the Venusaur. They really don't have any play here at all, because we can just sweep them with the CERULEDGE. And they let through an entire Incinerate, which is fantastic for us. They don't have much of a choice, to be honest, because they're taking so much damage from these Incinerates. But yeah, very satisfying win here in the end. We did manage to get through a double boosted double boosted incinerate, which did so much damage. And then we take them out with a body slam, and that is a good game. Next up, we have Greedent into Dragonite. This is not a good lead for us because we do no damage with our fast move. But honestly, these body slams do chunk. So this is an interesting situation where we have so much bulk, they have no bulk, and we're doing 0 damage with our fast move. They're doing so much damage with their fast move. And if they had thrown the superpower here, we would have been in trouble. Luckily, they throw the Dragon Claw, and we are going to try to catch the superpower because they threw the Dragon Claw when they were 4 Dragon Breaths over the Dragon Claw. We're able to calculate exactly when they're going to throw their superpower. Unfortunately, we do not catch it, but they throw the superpower anyway. I'm not entirely sure if they saw that I switched or not. This is at very low elo, I should say, honestly, so not necessarily the most predictable decisions by the opponents. But we are going to shield here versus the Skeledirge. It's a very difficult decision to shield, and we double bait because we know that we can get to another Aerial Ace before the damage from the Incinerate registers. So we're going to throw the next Aerial Ace. And yeah, we could have taken them out with an Earthquake, but honestly, getting a shield and doing the damage from that Aerial Ace is almost as good as taking them out with an Earthquake. Because if I took them out with an Earthquake, think about it, they would be able to farm up some energy with another Pokemon. And then they have Annihilate in the back. Unfortunately, I throw the Crunch here. I should have switched out. I really should have switched out here, but I panicked. Threw the Crunch. And now they have so much energy. I do take them out with a Flame Charge. So I do shield here. And they throw the Shadow Ball. So that's really good because that means they can farm up. And them throwing the Shadow Ball instead of a Night Slash definitely guaranteed that they lost this game just because I'm able to farm up so much energy before they get to their Shadow Ball. And we just boost here versus their Skeledirge because we're assuming that we can just close versus whatever's in the back. It's the Dragonite, and we take them out with 2 Incinerates. 2 resisted Incinerates that look like they're super effective. That's amazing. Double boosted Incinerates, I think. Maybe even triple boosted. I didn't keep track. But yeah, that's amazing to see Incinerate do that much damage. And so here we have a very good lead just because we outpaced the Ampharos so thoroughly. The one threat is if they have the Focus Blast and we let it through, then of course they will take us out, and we don't want that to happen. So what I'm thinking here is if they had farmed up to the Focus Blast, I would have switched out to Gliscor to take it, but thankfully they don't farm up to it. They throw the Trailblaze, which is good because it's more expensive than a Brittle Swing. I expect that they have Brittle Swing as their second move. They almost always do if they have Trailblaze. And so because they throw the more expensive move, we do outpace them so completely to these body slams that we should be able to get a shield advantage or take the match, and we're fine with that because we have almost half of our health remaining on the Greedent. And they have a Skeledirge. They take so long to switch into the Feraligatr that we reach this Earthquake, and we expect them to shield, but they don't shield, and that is so good for us. That is amazing for us because, yeah, if they had shielded there, then that would have been so much energy wasted versus the Feraligatr. We do throw the Aerial Ace because they would have gotten to a Hydro Cannon, and we would rather preserve this Gliscor rather than just get taken out with a shield disadvantage. And then they have the Skeledirge in the back, and we should be able to win this because we reached the Aerial Ace here. A huge reaching the Aerial Ace here before the Incinerate damage registers. And now these back two Pokemon should pretty cleanly take out the Skeledirge. So what I do is that I actually come into my Greedent, and then I'm going to throw the Crunch. I expect them to shield up the first Crunch, but if I throw one Mudshot here and I switch out, I won't take the damage from this Incinerate, and I'm one Mudshot away from the Crunch. So actually, I should just basically win this game regardless of what the opponent throws here, but they do throw this Disarming Voice, and that is a good game. So if they had thrown the Shadow Ball there and taken me out, I would have just gone to a Crunch, and of course a Crunch would take them out from that range. So that's the reason why they baited there. That was my loose con, was shielding a bait. That's a good game. And next up we have Swampert. Obviously it would be better to have Trailblaze here. This was one of my big struggles this Ultra League cycle, was that I didn't know if I should run Crunch or if I should run Trailblaze as my second move. Let me know if you've had any similar struggles down below about which charge moves you should run. But honestly, the reason why that I run Crunch instead of Trailblaze is because even without Trailblaze, this is a positive matchup with the Swampert. Whereas if I did run Trailblaze and they shielded up the first Trailblaze, it would be a pretty similar matchup. They throw an Earthquake, much to my surprise, and this is completely fine by me because they will not be able to farm me down before I reach 2 more Body Slams, even after that Earthquake. Earthquake was definitely not the right move there, just because we will be able to farm them down with the Gliscor, and that's really good for us because we get a little bit of extra energy. They have a Grand Bull, and so now I'm just thinking this has to be Double Charm. I just can't conceive of a team that would switch a Grand Bull into a Shadow Gliscor that isn't Double Charm. And if that's the case, then we should just win with Cerulege, because Cerulege obviously resists Charm, does so much damage with Incinerates, especially when boosted. And so we should just win this with Cerulege. Let's see if we're correct about this being Double Charm. I mean, this is just where my mind goes to when I see them switch into a Charmer versus my Shadow Gliscor with a shield advantage, with a energy advantage, I should say. But let's see what's in the back. And they have an Ampharos in the back. So that makes sense that they went into the Grand Bull. That's a kind of an interesting team, is the Ampharos Charmer backline. But we're definitely going to win versus this backline just because the Gliscor does so much neutral damage with Wing Attack and Aerial Ace. That's one of the reasons why I like Gliscor so much, is that flying and ground typing is so powerful in this meta. Very few things are resistant to both ground and flying, so that's what makes it a good safe swap in my opinion. So here's another Talonflame. We saw a lot of Talonflame leads, and once again we are going to be able to outpace them so completely with the Greedent. And we might switch out into the Gliscor after taking one move here, because we're so much bulkier on the Greedent that we want to take the moves on Greedent if possible. And then because they Flame Charge, they boost their attack, and we're hoping that they switch out here versus the Gliscor. We do suffer some lag, unfortunately. Otherwise, we should have gotten a full Wing Attack through there. But they Flame Charge the Gliscor, and then they switch into a Credilli. And this is not a great matchup for the Credilli by any means, because I have so much energy. I will land this Earthquake here. Boom! That's a lot of damage to the Credilli, because they didn't want to use a shield so early in the match, and I had so much energy. And then they take me out with a Rock Slide. And what I'm thinking is that I can just throw a Crunch and then take a Rock Slide, and then that means that I can farm them down with Incinerates. So we're going to take the Rock Slide. It's nice that they threw the Rock Slide immediately, in general, I think that this is something that happens in the lower elo, is that people don't store up their energy. Oh my gosh, and then they switch into Talonflame, and then they take that Incinerate with the Talonflame, so it looks like that Incinerate did so much damage. It did do a lot of damage. They have a Amoonguss in the back, and I want to let this person win just because this is just such a spicy team. They are doing the fast move pressure to me with the Astonish. The buffed Astonish damage is doing fast move damage to me. But we do have 2 shields, which means that we do win this game because we can farm them all the way down. But like I said before, the temptation to let them win was so strong just because it's such a spicy team, and a lot of props to the opponent for running Amoonguss of all Pokemon in the Ultra League. And that is all of our battles for today. So, yeah, how are you guys doing in this new season? How are you liking the new Open Ultra League meta? Or the Spring Cup if you're doing Spring Cup? Like I've said before on stream, I am waiting until next week to try out the Spring Cup because Open Master League is running alongside the Spring Cup next week. And I don't really have any Pokemon for the Open Master League right now that I want to use. So I'm excited to get to the Spring Cup next week. So if you are currently playing the Spring Cup, let me know how you're doing in the comments down below. And of course, if you're playing the Open Ultra League, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.